Good evening, good evening, good evening. I am with Mike, 40 Mike, Old Geary, Executive Director and founder of Hellfish Haven. My name is Travis Parrington, Marine Corps veteran and host of Oscar Mike Radio. We are resilient. We are war. And after
Yes,
1 year tonight is the celebration. Mike, so good to be here.
absolutely. And we might as well kick it off by showing the video again this week. So, without further wait, here it is.
All right, man. That was good.
Here we go. Slowly coming back. So my internet tonight sucks, guys. I'm sorry in advance. I will get that fixed for next time. Mobile hotspot on, get that work.
No problem at all. No problem at all. We are resilient here. Jimmy James from Colorado checking in on our 1 year anniversary. Welcome, Jimmy. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. So while Mikey is looking at his stuff and getting the Mark 19 out on, that's why we call him 40 Mike. Just a little blurb, if you will, about how we're doing. Jeremy Daniels and Barry Esvis checking in. All right. So I met Michael about a year and a half ago, and we did some stuff together. And then about a year ago, he's like, "Well, no, it was almost 2 years ago that I met Michael." And then about 18 months ago, he's like, "Hey, I got this idea for this thing. We get on, we talk about stuff, then not like your show, Oscar Mike Radio, but different." And I'm like, "Cool, man." It worked out really well, and we came up with this idea that veterans are pretty special, and we're tired of hearing how veterans are broken or destroyed or not what they should be. And instead, they can do all this amazing stuff. And so the idea for WAR came up. We are veterans, we are resilient, we are savage, we have the power to control our lives. We are war. And then take it one step further. We really wanted to get in people's faces with this. So the stigma that if you have PTSD or if you have an injury or if you have a problem that you're somehow worthless or without value just isn't true. There's a way out of everything and there's a way through everything if you want to, right? Absolutely right, Jeremy. Connect the dots. So we came up with this idea to say F, and you know what that stands for? The stigma. That's where we are, and it's been 1 year. We've done this about 55 times now, and it just keeps getting better.
It's absolutely been great, be able to connect with the folks and, especially the guests, we'll have a couple pop in tonight if the link will allow it.
Right now, we're at the mercy of the T-Mobile gods.
My
What does option 3 mean, Jeremy? Oh, we got our guest in here.
And then
How's
we
it
got
going?
The last thing, there's been some discussion outside of it. So, are you guys waiting on me?
We're just here, man.
Oh,
How's it going?
okay. Great, and yourselves?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Great to have you here. And Jimmy James, not Jeremy, Jimmy James from Colorado says, congrats on the anniversary. So you're on our 1-year anniversary, man. This is pretty special.
That's pretty crazy to think a year's already gone by. I know, I linked up with you and Mikey just about the same time frame and was on one of your first episodes. So it's crazy to be here a year later, and a lot's happened in between. Not only with New England is helping our veterans and Hellfish Haven and W.A.R. and Oscar Mike Radio, a lot's transpired over the year, and it's been awesome to be part of it, watch it, and collaborate with everybody. The end state is to do what we can do to help all our veterans out there, and I think that's been accomplished, and we continue to do, partner up the way we're doing it. We're just going to help more and more veterans down the road and have more resources.
Yeah. So why don't you remind everybody who you are, what organization you represent, and how you know Mikey?
Yeah. So for those who don't know me, I'm Craig Chapman, Vice President, New England is Helping Our Veterans, organization that started in Burrillville, Rhode Island, and branched into southeastern Massachusetts with myself coming on board as Vice President. And we aim to help veterans, military members that have served in the past, regardless of any type of discharge status. If you served in our military and you need some assistance, we're here for you. I know Mikey back in the day from the military. We were in the same battalion together, and we started reaching out when he started Hellfish Haven with his PTSD and trying to help soldiers with PTSD. We had a lot of conversations when he was first starting out, and a lot of resources, and figuring out how we can all work together to make things easier and better for our organizations. And the bigger thing was to get the word out there that there are nonprofits like our organizations, albeit they may be small. We do large things every day for our veterans, and I think our veterans and our military members that have served don't know that these resources are out there, or they don't know how to access or utilize them. So through this platform, Hidden Battles and Specialist Matthew Collini Memorial Fund doing their radios, shows, and just getting our social media out there, it's been a huge uphill battle, but I think we've done a great job over the last year, all of us, getting those words out and being there for our veterans and working with each other to try and find what resources are out there for us that we can, if we can't help directly, we can still help a veteran or a service member get that help. So I think it's been pretty awesome to sit back and watch it and be part of it.
One thing people don't understand or appreciate is just how much work it takes for you and Mike to keep your orgs going and keep people engaged. I was kind of wondering if you go into that because, some people think, oh, you're running a nonprofit, how glamorous, how cool. And there's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that people don't ever see, right?
Absolutely. I mean, small nonprofits, it's not easy. Number one. Number two, we pretty much run off of, or at least our organization, I'm sure Mikey's in the same boat, of donation based. So So if we don't get people to donate to our organization, we can't help veterans. And that's a big task to do as a small nonprofit, to get people to donate, because, you do the phone calls or you do different events. Um, it depends on who shows up and who's going to support. And, people get tired of, oh, I already helped the veterans, or I did this, or I did that. But I think we've been able to, work together and look at different events that work and that people are interested in. I'll give you an example. You're talking about your 1-year anniversary. Well, this time frame last year, or in a few weeks, we had our first annual classic rock and roll night for New England is helping our veterans at a local brewery in North Attleboro, and really didn't know how it was going to turn out. It was one of our first big fundraising events that we tackled as an organization, and we were overwhelmed with the support of the community. And I think that's what we have an advantage of, being a smaller nonprofit and being tied to our communities and helping veterans directly in our communities. People see that and know that, and they know who, Mike Geary is. They know who Craig Chapman is. They know, Travis is, and they want to support them in what they do. They see it every day on our social media, and it was a huge success, to the point we have our second annual Classic Rock and Roll Night ramping up right now. It'll be March 2nd, starting at 4 p.m. in North Attleboro at the English Brewery again. And we have a huge announcement to make that evening. We have a special reveal that we're collaborated with the brewery, and I think it's going to be a unbelievable moment in our organization's history to have this type of collaboration and what we're going to turn out on Saturday night, March 2nd. So you just think bigger and better, and you try to implement things that are going to work better every time. And it's pretty amazing what you can do when you do that.
We threw the link up in the chat there for New Orleans Helping Our Veterans in the events page.
Oh, Mikey, you're the best. You're the best.
Thank you.
I was just trying to get some intel on that.
Yeah, but the biggest thing, Mike and I have talked very recently about how our organizations can get other funding means other than donations. We talked, I know a year ago, I talked about grants and how to access them. And, it's very difficult or almost nearly impossible to get a grant writer that can volunteer time to help a small organization like ours. To the point we haven't had anybody really take interest or help us. We try to do it on our own. And, with the new office that just was established back in May of last year, the Executive Office of Veteran Services, I've been part of the Veterans Collaborative Monthly that Bob Notch, who just got appointed to the Veterans Advocate at the Massachusetts government, in a new office there. And he puts that on every month. And just going on that collaborative and listening and watching, there's so many different resources through the state and municipalities that can help, and also other nonprofits that jump on board. So Mike and I had we were supposed to be in person sit down, but because of a certain schedule, we had a Zoom call, just Mike and I, with the deputy director, Andrea Gale. And we had an hour long with her, just Mike and I talking with her, trying to see how that office can help nonprofits better themselves so we can better help the veteran community. And there were a lot of things thrown out there about trying to gather resources to show what grants are out there. Obviously, they're not giving out the grants, but maybe they have someone in the office that can streamline, hey, these are all the grants available for veterans nonprofits. Then we can click on it, go right to it. Same thing with veterans nonprofits. Have a list of all the veterans nonprofits in the Commonwealth. So then we can reach out to each other and say, hey, we got this going on. Can you help us? We can help you, so on and so forth. So those are kind of the biggest struggles that small nonprofits like us have. But the fundraising efforts are very needed, and we all work, again, donation-based, and we're all volunteer. We don't collect any paychecks. We do it because we want to help our veteran community. So.
All right,
We've got Scott Hyder from Hidden Battles joining us tonight too.
How you doing, Scott?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Scott, welcome.
How's the new radio show going, Scott?
It's good. It's going good. We're we're getting some really good guests on, getting a lot of good information out there to people that just aren't, just aren't really sure that we know exist. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that still don't know that, we exist in the towns that we're servicing, and it's crazy. So it's one good media to get it out there.
So what's the show about? I mean, when do you broadcast, and how's all that work?
So the good thing about it was we used to broadcast on Wednesday nights, but now we're on Monday nights, and we run out of WSMN in Nashua. It's an FM AM station. It serves, the southern New Hampshire, Merrimack Valley area. And then what we do is rebroadcast the show on Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock over at WCAP in Lowell. So we hit try to cover our whole area of operation. But we talk about mental health of first responders and veterans. We have other organizations come on and talk about what they do, because, it's all about the partnerships. It's all about getting everybody to know what resources are out there, because it's, Hidden Battles is not for everybody, but, what we don't cover, Hellfish covers, or we don't cover, Polini covers. So there's it's just us getting everybody up to know that there's other, organizations out there doing the job.
Awesome.
Now you guys got the
Yeah,
22
go
for 22 coming up in May.
Yeah, if you can't tell. So yeah, we do. May 18th, we got the 22 for the 22 coming up, which we're excited about. This will be our fifth one, and that's just really about raising camaraderie and awareness for veteran suicide, where we used to do 22 miles, but now we shortened it down because we really don't want to kill anybody, so we started doing the 22K. Which seems to be a lot better, and it's easy for us to manage logistically. But Mike's been there a bunch of times with his water station, you, the wife, and your daughter, and Jose. So it's a good time, but it's a good family event. And, after we have a big giant cookout at the town common, and there's live music played, and, it's just a really good time with beautiful scenery.
So Jimmy has a question for everybody. And this is Jimmy James, Army veteran out of Colorado. He says, what about networking at or for veteran-owned businesses once every couple of months to sit down with other veteran organizations to promote each other and give back? I mean, is that an aspect where we look at veteran businesses and, use that to support veteran nonprofits? What do you all think about that? Oh,
I'll go first. Yeah, no.
So I just feel like after COVID, it's been tough to get everybody together in person, but I think that's slowly starting to build back up in that aspect.
Yeah, agreed. Like I said, just letting people know that these businesses and these nonprofits exist is the hugest hurdle. Like I said, like Jeff Thomas is here, and thanks, Jeff. Jeff's a huge advocate for us, and I go into Market Basket, in Lowell, and I'll see people wearing our sweatshirts. And then I walk across the street to AutoZone, and people are like, what's that? What's Hidden Battles? I'm like, what do you mean what's Hidden Battles? We've been around 7 years. We've impacted over 1,600 local veterans. I don't know. How do you not know who we are? And we have a radio show, and we have stickers on everything that moves, but it's just exposure, and that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to expose more people. But but as far as answering that question, so we network really well with others. Myself and Mike, we networked really well with 22 Mohawks. And 22 Mohawks has their own little community down in, the Avon, Sharon area. And by networking with them, it's all about exposure, right? It's about building that community. And up in Merrimack Valley, we are dealing with a lot of good organizations. And like I said, the radio show that we have, Hidden Battles Radio, we have other organizations on all the time talking about what they do. Because listen, if you're thinking that you're the only show and you're not going to help other people grow, then you're in this for the wrong reason. The mission is to help veterans. And if you're not doing that by, raising our brothers and sisters with other organizations up, you're not doing it right. It's never going to work for you.
Well, it certainly is something, right? I mean, it's a big, huge playground. There's plenty of toys for everybody and plenty of space to do, your thing and help everybody else out. People miss that sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and
So-
like we were saying, money, Are we fighting for the same dollar? No, we all come up with original and different ways of raising money, whether it's, You throw your image on a beer can at a local brewery and you get raise money that way. We had a cornhole tournament that was really successful. So we did it that way. I mean, there's so many different ways. Apparel. If you don't want to fight with other people, get your own apparel, sell your stuff. You know what I mean? Listen, grant writing, I feel your pain. I've actually become pretty good at grant writing, yeah, but grant writing, it's hard. And you're right. Not many people want to do grant writing for free, and they want to do pro bono. And what'll happen is they'll write their money into the grant, and that excludes a lot of grants for us, especially. But you got to partner up with really good organizations. There's some organizations out there that just throw money at nonprofits, and that's what you got to find,
Well, do you look at it this way? Because I've had some people tell me that, in some ways they're getting kind of weary. They've heard the 22 a day for the last 10 years effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, are we making any progress there? When are we going to see some progress, and what's actually happening with my money? And it's a fair question to ask. And then you have the same person, I'm getting told, he gives one thing to one person, and then 2 weeks later he has 100 things in his inbox from other people asking for money. So I'm saying people are generous, people are wanting to help, but we certainly, I think, on our community got to show that we're moving the dial forward somehow. And I don't know the answer to that, because it's not as cut and dry as some people want it to be.
Mm-hmm. Want me to go again?
No, I'm just curious for you all. What's next for you all this year? What are you all working on for this year after, in Q2 and on?
Let's touch about donations to local organizations. I tell people all the time to donate to local organizations, whether it's a VFW, whether it's a bake sale for your school or the Cub Scouts or whatever. I tell everybody to donate local. If you write a check and you hand it off to them, individually, you're not going to be getting those cold calls. I will tell you, I get calls from the New Hampshire Troopers Association, the Firefighters Association, the Sheriff's Association, the Corrections Office Association, the Teachers Association, the Chiefs of Police, and it goes on and on and on, because it's one fundraising company, right? That what they do is you give to them once, and they just literally just pass the binder to the next dude, and they just change the title of who they're raising money for. Where us smaller organizations, we're not paying that guy to be on the phone, calling you. I know for a fact we're 94 cents on the dollar goes back into our program. We pay 6% annually for legal, for taxes, for insurance, and for overhead. So that's what we pay. A lot of people are worried because back in the day, and they've redeemed themselves. They've done really good. Wounded Warrior was notorious for only putting 30% back into programs for veterans, which is completely turned around because they got the greedy bastards out, and now they have really good people in there, right? But when people ask what they do for their money, we have the benefit of being local and having our hidden, our Facebook pages and our Instagrams and stuff to show them what we're doing locally, by posting the events that we're doing, to show videos and reels of their neighbors and other local people doing things local. That's what they're getting for their dollar. And as far as the 22 a day, that skyrocketed during COVID, but it's dropped now. They're saying it's an average of 17 a day now.
Yeah, that's what I have heard that that's more the real number. It's still a terrible number, but still,
yes,
it is progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. I mean, we're losing more to suicide than we lost in the global war on terror. But that's the impact we're making. And I mean, if you sit there and you think, okay, are we having any strides? Yes, we are. To drop 5 veterans a day over the course of a year, saving one veteran's huge, but saving 5 is huger, and you just sit there and you think, are we doing our job? Yeah, if it wasn't for awesome nonprofits like ours, I'm talking about everybody in the room, not just mine, but picking up the slack where it's been dropped, where we've been, swept into the corner with the dust bunnies, then there'd be a lot more. The number would be so much more.
Yeah, so got to jump on what Scott was saying is that, the direct donations to our organizations versus cold calls or the telebanks or whatever. 100% goes to the organization. Obviously, we have operational costs. Scott pointed out is in our cases are fairly minor, 6-7%. For us, it's a lot of car repairs, driving, gas, that type of stuff, insurances that we need to run our business. But there's no payroll. There's no overhead in the sense that we're spending 75% of the donations on something else and only putting 25% towards veterans. So, and the collaboration part of it, working all together, trying to figure out ways we can help each other. I mean, Scott mentioned it with Hidden Battles, Hellfish Haven, 22 Mohawks. They're in the arena of PTSD, and they all help in different ways. So those guys kind of pairing up and working together actually make a lot of sense. I don't think they're working against each other. I think they're actually working to better the benefits that they can do to help members that have the PTSD issues. So I'd love to see that. I know Mikey just recently has been working with 22 Mohawks a lot, and actually has a little space cut out there now. So that's awesome. When I heard that, I thought it was perfect pairing, perfect fitting. I see Mikey Peterson just jumped on, and we talked quite a bit too to the Specialist Matthew Collini Memorial Fund. Mike and I were deployed together with Matthew, and it's near and dear to our hearts. So me being part of New England is helping our veterans, and pairing up with Mikey at times when he needs help and when we need help. It's just awesome to be able to do that in honor of Matthew and help a veteran any way we can. So, I think the fundraising aspects of it is always going to be a battle.
Sure.
I think each group finds their own niche and they have their own following. So, like I said, we had our brewery event last year. Didn't know how it was going to go. It went huge. We made $7,000 in one night just towards our organization to help veterans. And this year, I think it's going to be bigger and better. I think Scott actually must have been spying on one of our collaborations. But what I was getting at, I'll release it now, is that
No, don't. You were the only one that picked up on that. Don't save it.
All right, I'm going to save it then.
Save it. Yeah.
But anyway, it's this event that's coming up March 2nd in North Attleboro Brewery. I think it's going to be even bigger and better than it was last year. And last year's was it was so overwhelming, the support. I can't even imagine what this year's going to. We might have to turn people away at the door. I think that's how big it's going to be. And that's how we, work and find these different events that work for your organization that help bring the 100% of the dollars back to your organization instead of putting out, fundraising companies. Unfortunately, they are used. You give $100 to a fundraising company when they call you, almost $25 comes to the organization. So I think most people want to donate, want to give that $100 to the organization. So
Sure.
Give it to us directly instead of through other avenues. Come to our events, support us, and make your donations that way.
And now, comedy night coming up.
Yeah, the Specialist Matthew Collini Memorial Fund has a comedy night in Drake at Lindsay's, same place we have our 5K. Yeah, they're great people. And we're going to have a comedy night April 12th. We have 3 comedians booked. And I think you and I are going to do a live show there at 6.
Yes. We're going to go live from the comedy night. And if Travis is available, we'll try to milk him in as well.
April
Well,
12th.
it's gonna be a good night. We have a lot of raffle items. We have the comedians are always great, so it's gonna be a really good night. Last year's comedy show was so awesome, and I think this one's gonna be even bigger.
Just totally like an idea just hit my head. We're not doing our job right, guys. We're not doing our job right. Think about this. We've got to figure out some way we can maximize Valentine's Day. We got to do something where we can, give an experience for the wife that the guy will enjoy and want to give money to. I don't know what that is, but if you had like an experience, a trip or something like, hey, you screwed up Valentine's Day last year, you forgot her anniversary. Well, we've got the fix for you. For $2.99, we can give you Right. I mean, it just hit me right now, like, because Valentine's Day is just around the corner. And one of my buddies forgot about it. How do you forget Valentine's Day, by the way? I'm not even married. But
So listen to this. So we've already got that covered. So we
You
do a
do?
couple, we do a couples cooking program all throughout the year.
Get
And this
out.
Saturday, matter of fact, we actually sold out. We have 27 couples coming and cooking Valentine's Day dinner together.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So that's what we looked at. We looked at the fact that, like, why am I not dead? Is because I include my family in a lot of these programs, you know. So by including the family, you know, because listen, trauma is not something that we keep inside. When we bring it home, we expose it to our families, and you know, and and I'm happy to say, like, Mike Peterson, he's a huge part of Hidden Battles too, and Mike can attest to this. Like, by us incorporating families into programs, you get time to spend with your family, and since everything's free, you don't have to worry about that burden. You don't have to worry about paying for, you know, bringing your kids to the movies or bringing them to Canopy or, you know, the couples cooking class. Like, short money. It costs you $20 to do a steak dinner with dessert, cocktails, and you know what I mean? And the only reason we charge is because people don't show up if they don't pay. That's the only reason. But you have to have the nights. And I know game nights. Bring the whole family, right, Mike?
Yeah, right. And like I say on the radio, Scott, is like, yeah, you wear the uniform, but the whole family serves, whether it be first responder or military.
That's so true. That's so true. Well,
And especially when you have such limited time.
Right.
Exactly.
So, okay, I wasn't as forward thinking as I thought I was. You guys already have it covered, but it's smart, right? Because, you know, I hear all the time, well, the VFW is a dark, dingy place, but stuff like this gets us out of that and gets new people in. And yeah, guys, I mean, if your wife is keeping you alive and your kids are your reason for being, it's a pretty good way to, you know, get the family into it. I love it.
And the great thing about it too is they're meeting other families that have very similar, you know, background struggles, you know, dealing with the same issues. So they get to talk, you know, the wives get to talk and they become friends and they start to build their own network and their own support system, you know, and that's great for them because now, you know, my wife's friends with Mike's wife. And, you know, when they see each other at events, they sit there and talk, and it makes it more appealing for them to go to an event because they know that, like, you know, Courtney's going to be there, Leslie's going to be there. You know what I mean? And it's just the way it is. And it works because now we get to go and hang out with our friends and we have our chaperones to keep us in line, and they have friends there now.
Yeah. You know, and my son, Duke, he's made friends at these Hidden Battles events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just extending your family, you know, out of uniform at this point.
All right. So, well, I'll have to come up with another idea. I thought Valentine's Day was a pretty good day to, you know, get some.
That was a great segue. No,
Well,
I just.
Well, no, and way to pick it up. Way to pick it up because I thought, wow, you know, we're guys. Every guy's, you know, forgotten something that we're supposed to remember when it comes to our significant others, you know, real or imagined, right? I mean, why not capitalize that? And you're already there, and you've got the family into it. Savage, just savage. We are everything. We are resilient. We are war. I love it.
No, I think what you guys doing here is awesome too. Like I said, this is one of the shows I could not watch because I was running over to Dumpster Fire Radio on Wednesday nights and, you know, trying to get everything ready for our shows. And we went to a new, you know, digital studio, and life is better. So I can actually now watch you guys and enjoy it on Wednesday nights because I couldn't before. I was a stress case.
Well, I certainly understand how that works, and you know, we're just Semper Gumby here, and you know, we make it happen, and it's all fun, and that's the main thing. This is fun. It's just a great way to bring everybody together. We got people coming in from nationwide checking this out, and you all here. It's all good.
And like Craig mentioned earlier, Hellfish Haven is moving to 22 Mohawks. We'll have an office space there, game room. We'll be able to do more events there over in Sharon, Mass, just about a mile from the stadium. So it'll be, we'll let you guys know when that is up and running. Should be in a matter of weeks.
Nice.
Sorry about that, Mike. I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Oh, no worries.
Is there like a grand opening for Hellfish Haven over there at that location?
There absolutely will be, and I know that we've got a plaque from Swim with a Mission to hang up as well.
Yeah, I'll be delivering that personally.
Yeah, if you let us know the date as soon as possible, so I can make arrangements to be there.
Absolutely, I'll touch base with the folks at 22 Mohawks and see what's good for what they have blocked out so we can fit it in.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll put the grand opening for you, Mike. We'll help you get that going.
Because it's just nice to have a place to go because there's so many legions, VFWs that have closed down over the last few years that having a place for veterans to be able to go even with the families and go and play Mario Kart for a few hours or go and be able to get the latest information available and like everything that I go and I have is from a nonprofit or a resource that I've personally vetted. I try to always pass something along to folks that I know works for me, or I know I've gone through and checked that it's legit because I don't want to share something and then somebody goes to try to use it, and then we're not helping the veteran and we've turned them away.
Like I touched on earlier about stress, about environmental stress with running, nonprofits, where us with our radio show is very stressful for us. And I know that, your initial home for Hellfish Haven was stressful for you, and this is going to be good for you because it'll be taking a lot of stress and almost putting the fun and love back into what we do, because running a nonprofit is hard enough, but you don't need that added stress thrown onto it. That just kind of sours it for you. I know, like when we were doing the radio show, Mike and I were doing the radio show on Wednesday nights was very stressful for me because God knows what was going to happen. And it wasn't what was going to happen. It was when it was going to happen because it would happen every single time, to the point that it was almost making it not enjoyable, and when you find a new place, like your new place is going to be awesome for you. You're going to be so happy and the stress level is going to go down and you'll be able to enjoy what you're doing again.
And then just come on is Scott Meadows. He's on the board of directors for Hellfish Haven. He's excited that we're going to be helping a physical location again because that was our big thing was to be a physical location. And, Brighton just didn't work. We butted heads with the management. So it'll be good to be with an organization like 22 Mohawks that's, on the same suicide prevention mission and same values and, the same go and spirit to host these events and not worry about, oh, there's going to be people here. Oh, they're going to make a mess. Things will be cleaned up. People will be there. Get the word out and just reach people however we can.
Absolutely.
Scott, what's been going on with you lately?
Oh man, nothing much. Still doing the same old grind. Day in and day out. I do apologize for coming on late. I was talking to one of my other soldiers. Getting him prepared to go to MLC and take care of people.
Awesome.
For those that don't know, Scott was my platoon sergeant, squad leader at WTU in Fort Dix. We became friends there. We also share a birthday of December 27th. So, you guys are looking to, give presents to anybody 2 days after Christmas. We're you guys.
Absolutely. And this is, like I said, this organization is absolutely incredible. Since I've known Mike and we've known each other now, geez, going on probably about 15 years now. 10, 15 years, somewhere in there.
10 years, because it was
10 years.
I medically retired in 2014, so
okay,
probably 13, 14 is when we met, because then I got sent to Massachusetts for the community-based warrior transition unit, and then that whole mission ended, so I got sent back to Fort Knox, and then in order to get retired, I got sent to West Point for 3 days. And so they literally took all my equipment from me down to Fort Knox, sent me to West Point in the middle of December, no cold weather year. And we're like, all right, you got to go there to retire because we don't want to pay for a flight from Kentucky to go home. You can just drive from West Point back to Massachusetts.
You're in the Army now. You're not behind the plow. You'll never get rich. They're going to ditch. You're in the Army now.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a Marine, and I know that. Did you guys dig any ditches in the Army, by the way? I mean, was that a thing? I always wondered that.
That's why I left infantry.
Ah, got it. Well, Mikey, it's that time for me. I got at the top of the hour for me, but it's just great being here after a year. It's been nice meeting you all and getting to learn about what you do and understanding that we're all in the same place together, but we're all going to different places. So it's really cool. And thank you all for sharing so openly and candidly with us.
And who you got coming on the show?
Oh, on the show, so 8 o'clock on Oscar Mike Radio, we have Dr. Aaron P. Bryan, U.S. Army Ranger, multi-author, consultant, talking about his new book, Mental Health, and how that book fits into what he wants to do for people who are struggling, whether you're a veteran or not. Really interesting man, and I got a lot out of this conversation. So 8 o'clock, right back here on Oscar Mike Radio.
All right. Thank you very much, Travis. And then I'm going to put up the promos for some of these events that we've been talking about. See if this works.
There we go. We got it. Free.
So there's the Rock Night. Greg, do you want to talk about that one more time?
Yeah, so it's our second annual, March 2nd, Saturday, starting at 4 p.m. to about 11 down at Angle Tree Brewery in North Attleboro. They've been unbelievable after last year's event. They actually, I worked in town, and all year long they've been trying to grab me off the street and tell me to run another one because they had such a great night as well. So it was fantastic for everybody. But this year, March 2nd, Angle Tree Brewery, we're going to have acoustic music set, rock and roll classic, rock and roll band, bagpipes. We're going to have a live auction with 4 awesome items. Some Bruins, Patriots, and Red Sox tickets, great seats, and a personal gourmet chef experience for up to 8 people, along with raffles and 50/50s and everything else going on. It's going to be an awesome night. So if anybody's in the area, wants to come down, check out our organization, see what's going on, I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Nice.
And then I got this next one.
Yeah, so we get the comedy show April 12th. Doors open at 6. Comedians come on at 8, so it'll probably be 6 to 11. Like I said, we're going to go live, right, Mike, at 6 o'clock for about a half hour. A ton of raffle prizes. It's gonna be, we had 30 tables, we're almost sold out, actually. We only have, I think, 4 tables left, and it's 10 to a table. So it's going to be a big night. It's going to be a good night. It's at Lindsay's in Drake, Massachusetts.
Hey, Mike, is that sold out or you still got tickets?
I think there's still 4 tables left.
I'm apologizing in advance. I have a union event that evening at Gillette. So
I know, but unfortunately, there's no excuse, and that union event will have to be canceled or postponed.
I'm clear in the spirit. I'll buy a ticket. How's that?
Well, okay, we'll call it even. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you too, man.
Oh, that's good.
And then we got the 22 for 22. I can't get the picture up on it, but
Yeah, it's all right. No, I appreciate it. Actually, we have a concert coming up too at on March 2nd at 8 p.m. at the Arlington Regent Theater. We have it's called Rock and Roll Circus. It's got John Butcher Access, John Butcher from John Butcher Access, a local. He's like Boston's Jimi Hendrix. He's coming. James Montgomery. There's members of Jay Giles' band, Tina Turner's band, Joe Cocker's band. Sal Baglio was the singer of the Stompers. Was a huge local Boston band singing. There's tickets available for that, and that's a huge fundraiser for us, which is cool. And we're lucky that we got to work with Rockin' for Vets to do that for us. So we're kind of happy that's happening. But yeah, no, the 22 it's realistically one of our big 4 events we have, and it's my baby. I love that freaking thing. That came to light because of COVID. We couldn't go and see the vets on Veterans Day, and our first 22 was in November, on November 22nd. And what originally started with only 4 or 5 of us doing it turned to 87 people, rucking 22 miles. And I think only 17 of us completed the whole thing. It was Mike, you were there the first one, right?
Yes, sir. Freezing and then
Yep.
hot and then snow and then hot and then snow again. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, it sucked. Like, but
It was awesome though. It sucked, but it was completely awesome.
yeah, it was amazing at the same time. And then
Raceless
someone
sucked,
talked
yep.
me into doing it in May, and then it was friggin' hot, and it was cold, and it was hot. So, but it's a good time. You can
Great
you can find tickets on our Facebook page. The link to go there. And we just released a new thing. You can actually pre-order your shirt to guarantee you're going to get your shirt. It's $10 cheaper if you pre-order it. And if you have a team of 10, for $50, you can actually get a team shirt made with our logo and everything else on it. So, that's that. And what we do is we run that as a fundraiser. However, we don't raise that much money. It's more of a festival. It's a gathering, because the live music after, and we encourage people to bring their kids, and it's free hamburgers and hot dogs. And I think the local fire department up there, they do a fundraiser that day, and they sell ice cream. So I mean, it's a great day. But yeah, we encourage people to bring lounge chairs and blankets and stuff, and set them up on the green and just hang out in the common. I mean,
I've seen guys have little tents set up, the little cover.
Mm-hmm.
You know what though? In true veteran fashion, the 22 for the 22 is just such a display of camaraderie. People that you've never met before, and all of a sudden you're best friends because they're struggling, you're struggling, right? You got 10, 15 miles into it. It's just it's an awesome event. We met some great people there.
Who is that clinician that we met, Mike, who was struggling that day?
I don't know. We there was a bunch of people that we talked to that were having a tough time, but even despite, you could tell that they are struggling. And meanwhile, ear to ear smile, right? That no, we're good. No, well, you're not good, but
we met a clinician that was struggling, and she wasn't a veteran. She just came out to support and really wanted. And she said to us, she was going up at the time. She was going up Embrace the Suck Hill, and Mike and I stumbled across her, and she had said she, with the aspiration of doing 1 mile, when we saw her, she was limping, and she was at like mile 2.5, almost 3 miles. And it was moving for us because of the fact that we saw what it meant to these people to actually get out there and be with other people who are struggling and fall in with your tribe and, move. And that was the greatest thing. I mean, Mike and I walked with her for a little while. We helped her stretch out her calves. And then we not dumped, but we found another group that was moving about her speed, and, passed her off, and we, kept trucking along, found a couple more that were that way. And it's amazing to hear people's stories and, their why they're there. That's nuts. It's like bigger than I ever thought it was going to be. And I think it's more meaningful than I ever thought it would be.
It's like the silky hikes that irreverent warriors do. You go on the hike, and it's not about the distance or anything. It's about being around other veterans and being able to communicate with these guys in between stop 1 and stop 2. Find another group of people between 2 and 3, and as you go along the route, you get to exchange stories with one another, and that's what I've seen at the 22 for 22. We run a medical and water station, and people will stop there and just chat, and you'll be like, all right, you gotta finish your race here, but being able to chat with everybody is just, one of the great parts of it. Like,
and it's cool that we do get the the nonprofits to come up and set up water stations, because once again we're exposing these people to people that in organizations they've never met before, and now they're like, holy crap, like this is great. I mean, we had Badger Wilderness, Delta Dog, Lad Farm. And it's just great to have the community come out, and that community up at Newfound Lake. Oh my God, amazing! You see, there's a World War II vet who was in an armor unit who has this log cabin on the side of his on the side of the prop, like right on the side of the road. He has no yard, like his log cabin basically sits over the lake, and that guy sets up a little tiny table with like maybe 12 waters on it, but that's him doing his part. People drive by, they wave, they give you a thumbs up. Some people stop and we're handing Rutgers money, like, hey, this is for your cause. And they're like, I don't know what to do with this, but that's like the perfect place for this. It's unbelievable. It's so nice. The first year, Mike, remember that old dude pulled up and he gave, now this is how old his car was. He had an ashtray and it was full of change and he dumped it into my pocket.
Yes.
Oh, but it's nice, people, they know the route, just like the Pellini. They know the route. They come out and support it. They're at the end of their driveway clapping and cheering you on. I mean, that's what we need. It's reassuring our veterans and those struggling, that people do give a shit about them, you know?
Not
Because
alone.
sometimes we think we come home and you look at the news and you're like, no, nobody cares about us, you know?
And then, Mike, did you also want to talk about the training that you've been doing down in Georgia, and then you came back and that you've been able to share with folks up here?
Oh, the mindfulness.
Yes.
Yeah, well, speaking of mindfulness, actually, okay, so I started a business, New England Mindfulness and Performance. My agency at Homeland Security sent me to become a mindfulness coach, so I took that and just created my own business to help out the veterans and first responders here. So I had a course. I've had multiple courses, and Scott's a coach with me. We've done the Wound Warrior Project, Responders Together, New Hampshire, Camp Resilience, and I've had 3 courses now at Nespin in Franklin, Mass. I have another course February 28th for a Mindful Leaders course, and that's for supervisors of any soldiers or first responders. Right now, there's about 18 spots already filled, so I usually want to cap it out at 30, but that's going pretty quick, and that's great. And then we also have a class on May 3rd for veterans, actually, for veterans and first responders. Wounded Warrior Project is bringing on veterans, and Responders Together New Hampshire is bringing on first responders. So that's going to be a great course. And then we have a few retreats throughout the summer with that at Lad Farm. So New England Mindfulness and Performance is doing doing some good work, I think. And it's great to have Scott over there to kind of keep me on track, and an assistant coach, and tell me which slides are screwed up and what to change. And that's that just makes the course even better. But I tell you what, Mike, if you're interested, I wouldn't mind getting a few veterans together if you can when you have your opening, and offering a free 4-hour course for you guys or something like that. If you think that you'd be interested in that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So, Mike, with my
So
courses,
we've had some good breaking news here tonight.
With my course comes 4 virtual follow-up sessions, which, by the way, my course from this past Monday, tonight is the first follow-up session at 8 p.m. So I will see you guys.
We'll kick everybody off then, and thank you guys for joining, Craig, Scott, Mike.
Thanks,
showing
gentlemen.
that we are resilient. Every organization that we've got, and thanks everybody for joining us tonight. Again,
Mike, you're doing great work, man. I appreciate you.
Always good seeing you
Thank
guys.
you guys. We'll talk to
Stay
you guys
safe,
soon.
everybody.